Beyond Our Borders is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
All right, half a day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Beyond Our Borders. I'm Nestor Licanto, and this month our guest is Mr. Israel Fontanilla, who is the new area manager for Philippine Airlines on Guam and Micronesia. Welcome to the show, Israel.
Thank you. Thank you. Half a day, everyone.
Before we start talking about the airline industry, let's talk about you. Tell us about your background and experience with the Philippine Airlines and what your new job entails.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm 16 years with Philippine Airlines now, and I started as a ticketing agent at the NAIA International Airport. So after 2 years, I was assigned in sales to become a senior account executive. And then 2 years, I think 2 or 3 years, then I was assigned in Papua New Guinea to look after the country. So actually, I lived there for 2.5 years. And then I was transferred to New Zealand. So that's another 3 years for me, looking after both New Zealand and Papua New Guinea. And now I'm currently based in Manila, and Guam has been added to my portfolio.
All right. So on a bigger note, the pandemic, of course, has really impacted the global airline industry. Do you think it's starting to recover in this region?
Oh yes, definitely. During the pandemic, there were months where we stopped actually flying here in Guam, but with the help of the consulate, of course we need to put up flights to bring people in and out of Guam. So we started with 2 flights, and then after a few months, then 3, 4. Now we're happy to inform everyone that we're now flying daily. So
yeah.
We're now about to pre-pandemic levels, Nestor.
Yeah. You know, in the region, I know they talked about, a pent-up demand because, the pandemic kept everybody at home, but there are still restrictions that some countries had continued to impose, and that kind of also kind of tapered down the response to travel.
Oh yes, definitely. It's because we're not only serving the Guam market, but a lot of passengers are coming from Guam, moving on to other countries, let's say to Japan, to Korea, or Southeast Asia. Now looking at the border restrictions of other countries, we're having difficulty transiting passengers from Guam to this destinations. So the different restrictions of different countries definitely affected our operations as well.
Yeah, and as you probably know, Manila is a very popular destination for the residents of Guam. Tell us at this current time, there's most of the restrictions have been lifted. You can pretty much travel freely to Manila at this time.
Yes, mid-September they actually made some revisions with the restrictions going to the Filipino, or let's say you're someone holding dual citizenship. Before, when you arrive in Manila, you have to be fully vaccinated and boosted for you to be able to come in without requirement of having a negative COVID-19 test. But now, if you're a Filipino citizen and having dual citizenship, you may come into the Philippines without a COVID-19 test, even if you're not boosted, as long as you're fully vaccinated. So the definition of fully vaccinated has been, it's been changed now for Filipino nationals. If you're a foreigner or or a former Filipino, you can still enter the Philippines if you're fully vaccinated and at least 1 booster shot, and it must be done at least 14 days before your next flight.
All right. And so tell me how Philippine Airlines has responded in the, as this pandemic has kind of settled down quite a bit. How has Philippine Airlines responded, not just in this region, but throughout your whole service markets?
Okay. Well, during the pandemic, we've had, of course, Filipinos are all over the world. We've actually never stopped flying to the US, most specifically Los Angeles, because there are millions of Filipinos there. In the Middle East, there are times when we actually stop operating, but because we're actually working with the different embassies, different consulates, and they are the ones who've actually been helping Philippine Airlines and the passengers to bring back this stranded individuals back to Manila, and also those stranded foreigners in the Philippines back to their own country. So it's actually a joint effort between the Philippine government and Philippine Airlines.
Beyond Our Borders is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
When making the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich, people asked how I felt about burger places selling fried chicken. I'd say that's none of my business. Just like making fried chicken is none of theirs. Get the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich. It's finger-licking good.
Beyond Our Borders is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
And has the company kind of gone back to full force now? You pretty much resumed full operations?
Well, right now, we are expecting to be at least 86% in pre-pandemic levels by the end of the year. With regards the what do you call this, the manpower for Philippine Airlines, it remained the same during the pandemic. So we're now pretty much pre-pandemic, so to say.
All right, good news. But what does Philippine Airlines have planned for the Guam market? Anything in the works, or what's your vision?
Well, looking at having daily flights now, we're using the Airbus 321 Neo. This is actually a 168-seater. The bigger aircraft, which is the Airbus 330 with more than 300 passengers. So we're looking at least if there's demand for it, we're looking at increasing not the capacity, but rather the number of seats that we have by way of upgrading the aircraft. So right now we are looking at the flight loads for the upcoming Christmas season, because as you know, Nestor, this is actually the first Christmas season where technically there are no restrictions for the balikbayans. So definitely a lot of people will be coming home, will be visiting their friends and relatives back in the Philippines. And of course, with the upcoming festivities this coming January, like the Nagyang Festival, the Mascara, Ati-Atian, and of course the Sinulog, you can't imagine the number of passengers willing and wanting to go back to the Philippines at this time.
Yeah, on an annual basis, Philippine Airlines has a number of different promotions, right? Some of the events that you just mentioned. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we don't have any promotions right now, but definitely we're trying to become as competitive as possible, because what we want is to give the best pricing for our fellow kababayans here in Guam. Actually, we're not just looking into Guam as our into the Philippine market as our main source of main number of passengers, but we're actually looking into different markets as well. We wanted the people to perceive Philippine Airlines as a network carrier, not just when people hear Philippine Airlines, it's just Manila, right? But right now we're trying to use Manila as a hub for other nationalities, for them to take Philippine Airlines, for them to experience the Philippines, and then at the same time proceed to another destination of their choice, and then go back to Guam. So it's not just the Philippine market, but we would love to extend the what are called the opportunities for other markets as well, Nestor.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about the domestic destinations, because you're right. Most people think of Manila, but the Philippines is a very big and diverse country. I think the Philippine Tourism Authority had very excellent marketing slogan, and it's more fun in the Philippines. Talk about other destinations that people from Guam can access and go to in the Philippines, like Cebu and all other resort areas.
Yeah. So during pandemic, we have different restrictions for each destination. But right now, Philippines is fully vaccinated. You can actually go and visit famous destinations like, of course, my favorite, that would be Boracay in Aklan. And Cebu is there as well. Davao, who has both has good food, very friendly people. You can actually go to Iloilo or visit Puerto Princesa. So people from Guam can actually take advantage of taking Philippine Airlines, because we arrive in the morning, and most of the connecting flights are very what do you call this? You can actually proceed to your next destination in less than 2 hours or 3 hours or so. So with the arrival in the morning, it's actually good for you to be able to use PAL for your domestic destinations.
Yeah, and you're connected to almost every province in the Philippines, or every major city too, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many Ilonggos and Aclanons on Guam, so they're familiar with Boracay.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm married to an Aclanon.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, right.
Beyond Our Borders is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
When making the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich, people asked how I felt about burger places selling fried chicken. I'd say that's none of my business. Just like making fried chicken is none of theirs. Get the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich. It's finger-licking good.
Beyond Our Borders is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
Can we expect any other new developments in the Guam market in particular, or maybe an increase in service if the situation warrants?
Well, definitely, if the demand is there, then we will be working on ways to actually accommodate more passengers. With regards promotions, of course, we wanted to do it on a regular basis, like for Filipinos to be able for the what do you call this, for the tickets to be for them to be able to easily afford the tickets going back if they wanted to visit the Philippines.
Yeah, one of the big hurdles for Filipinos visiting Guam or even the U.S. has been the visa situation. First of all, it's difficult. It's time consuming. It's not inexpensive. I believe it's 160 US just to apply, and there's no guarantee that you will get the visa, right? But I think the governor, Leon Guerrero, she has been to Manila recently to lobby with U.S. embassy officials about a Guam-only visa waiver. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Well, right now, I agree with what you said, that it's a bit difficult to secure a U.S. visa right now. But I think with the Guam governor looking at lobbying at having a visa-free for the Filipinos, we fully support that. Of course, if that will happen, of course, demand will definitely increase, and of course, Philippine Airlines will be there. In fact, we're not just actually working with the Guam district to bring passengers back to the Philippines, but of course, we're working with Guam Visitors Bureau for us to be able to bring passengers from the Philippines to Guam as well. They actually visited the Guam Visitors Bureau. They actually visited Philippines a few months back, and I was able to meet with them. And we've had product updates wherein we've had different around 350 travel agents who've joined us, and we presented what Guam Guam has to offer, and we've actually received very good reception from the travel agents, and it was brought up that the problem is the acquiring of securing visas for the U.S. and having the visa-free waiver for Filipino nationals would definitely be a good thing for everyone back in the Philippines.
Why do you think, in your opinion, the getting a visa for Filipinos to come to Guam seems to be a challenge?
Well, the only thing that I know that's becoming a challenge is that people trying to secure schedules or appointments right now, they get, I think, a bit farther from the current date. Unlike before, from memory, but it was around 6 years ago when I tried to apply for a US visa. I got an appointment for, I think, less than a month or two, if I remember it correctly. But now I think it goes way beyond those 2 months. And I think one of the reasons is because of the pandemic. I think that there's probably they have backlogs or similar costs, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, seems to be quite a backlog. And if you ever travel to Manila and go past the U.S. Embassy during working hours, you'll always see a long line outside, waiting outside for people to get in, presumably, to get visas and, of course, other business. But yeah, you'll notice that in Manila along Rojas Boulevard. Is the Philippine government doing anything to encourage overseas travel among Filipinos?
I'm sorry, come again, Nestor?
Is the Philippine government doing anything to encourage overseas travel among Filipinos, and also for folks to travel to the Philippines?
Well, right now I haven't got in touch with the Philippine Department of Tourism for that, but we'll do so. Make some efforts to meet them. To have to be able to encourage Filipinos here in Guam to visit the Philippines. In fact, earlier we actually met with the MWR, with the military, and they actually informed us that servicemen here in Guam would actually want to go out, and one of their top destinations to go to would be the Philippines. So I think the interest is there, and looking at that the Philippines is now open, so I think it's going to be a good opportunity for Philippines as well.
Yeah.
Beyond Our Borders is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
When making the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich, people asked how I felt about burger places selling fried chicken. I'd say that's none of my business. Just like making fried chicken is none of theirs. Get the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich. It's finger-licking good.
Beyond Our Borders is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
What your assessment is of the Philippine tourism industry currently, and whether it seems to be coming back strong?
Oh yes, definitely. Based on experience as well. During the pandemic, I was able to visit Boracay, and there aren't a lot of people there. But recently, I think less than a month ago, I visited, and then it was almost back to normal. Looking at the hotels there, they're almost fully booked. If you actually tried booking yourself, you'll have difficulty, most especially during the weekends. So I think tourism back in the Philippines is doing strong, and the slogan it's more fun in the Philippines. It's definitely come on for those who wanted to visit.
Right. How would you assess the airline industry as a whole? Not just Philippine Airlines, but just the global airline industry.
Well, I think right now everyone would be reaching pre-pandemic levels by early next year. It's been more than 2 years now wherein people are unable to travel. Looking at that, what we call people are actually wanting to travel, and we call it the revenge travel. So definitely recovery is there. I think based on what we're getting now with the numbers that we're having, definitely will be recovering. The whole industry will be recovering, I think, early next year.
Yeah. One of the other things I wanted to mention earlier was the fact that another aspect of the Guam to Manila travel is for medical tourism, I guess you could call it. And Philippine Airlines is involved in that as well.
Yes, actually, it's actually in our itinerary. We were able to visit the medical referral offices here in Guam, and it's actually a market where where we have an opportunity in. We will be partnering with them for us to be able to provide better deals with those wanting to go to the Philippines to have their executive checkup or have something treated. You know, when I was in Papua New Guinea, we were working with the department with DOT with regards medical tourism, and before that, they actually mentioned that Guam has a lot of medical tourists going to the Philippines. The two referral offices were able to meet us, and then definitely we'll be working with them, having packages in place for it to become more affordable for the people of Guam.
Yeah, I have one other question for you, and maybe you can kind of explain this. You know, it comes up a lot. Why is it that Philippine Airlines coming from the U.S. mainland overflies Guam to get to Manila? Why doesn't it stop here, except for, I guess, refueling sometimes? And I guess that has to do with the bilateral agreements. Can you explain?
Oh, you mean passengers coming from the mainland to Guam, then to Manila, right?
Right. And why aren't, for example, they ask, why can't Philippine Airlines stop here on the way to Manila, or from Manila stop here on the way to the U.S. mainland?
Okay. Well, if you're flying from Guam to Manila, then onwards to mainland USA, it's actually restricted by the U.S. government. It's called the cabotage law, wherein you're not allowed to bring passengers domestically. Sorry, you're not any airline that are not U.S. based. They're not actually allowed to bring passengers domestically. Yeah.
Okay. So those who are wondering, that is the answer. All right. Israel, I want to give you a final chance to just kind of greet your potential customers here and invite them to make avail of your airline.
Okay, so everyone, we'd like to inform you that Philippines is now open. So we have less restrictions. So coming into the Philippines is easier now. We're now flying daily. So we encourage everyone to actually do or plan your visit to the Philippines. Our fares are very affordable, very competitive. So we actually were expecting a lot of Filipinos to go to the Philippines. So go to your nearest travel agent to check on the prices and do your planning now. That's all. That's great.
All right, that's Israel Fontanilla. He is the new area manager for Philippine Airlines for Guam and Micronesia and the region. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Nestor.
All right, I'm Nestor Licanto. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you again next week, next month, that is, on Beyond Our Borders.
Beyond Our Borders is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.